In the vast expanse of the galaxy, humanity wasn't just another species, it was an anomaly. The others called them Deathworlders, a label both damning and awestruck. To understand why, one only had to look at their home, Earth, a planet of feral chaos, where survival meant enduring volatile weather, relentless predators, and a seemingly endless parade of natural disasters. For millennia, Earth's biosphere shaped its dominant species, humanity, into something extraordinary. Creatures of persistence, ingenuity, and raw adaptability. The galactic community, on the other hand, thrived on predictability. Their worlds were paradises, stable ecosystems, mild climates, and no significant evolutionary pressures. Conflict was rare, and when it did arise, it was handled with precision and technology rather than brute force. To them, humans seemed like an aberration, their resilience bordering on reckless insanity. No other species could survive where humans thrived. When humanity finally stepped onto the galactic stage, their arrival sent ripples of unease. Their ships, though functional, seemed clumsy compared to the elegant, optimized designs of other species. Their technology wasn't the most advanced, and their biology, while robust, appeared primitive in many ways. But what unnerved the galaxy most was humanity's unpredictability. The way they adapted to new situations with alarming speed, often breaking conventions that other species had followed for millennia. To the galactic community, humans were dangerous because they weren't bound by the same rules. Where others saw insurmountable obstacles, humans saw opportunities. Their solutions to problems were often unconventional, even chaotic, but they worked. It wasn't long before rumors spread. Stories of humans turning certain doom into triumph through sheer ingenuity or stubbornness. But admiration wasn't the same as trust. Many species kept their distance, wary of what humanity might bring to their peaceful coalition. There was a sense of unease about them, as if they were a force of nature rather than a predictable ally. Despite this, humans didn't seem to mind. They were used to being misunderstood. After all, they had survived on a world that seemed intent on killing them at every turn. What truly puzzled the galactic species wasn't humanity's resilience, but their reasoning for pushing forward. Other species innovated to eliminate risks, to create stability. Humans innovated because they couldn't help themselves. They thrived in adversity, not because they sought it, but because it was all they had ever known. To them, growth came from challenge, strength from conflict. It was a mindset alien to the rest of the galaxy. And yet, for all their quirks, humanity didn't aspire to dominate. They sought connection, exploration, and understanding. They were eager to share stories, exchange knowledge, and find common ground. For the galactic community, this was perhaps the greatest shock of all. These so-called Deathworlders, forged in the crucible of chaos, were not conquerors. They were dreamers, willing to reach out a hand of friendship even when it wasn't returned. It was this paradox, the deadly survivors who sought peace, that made humanity unique. But the galaxy had yet to discover the full extent of what humanity could do when faced with a challenge greater than any they had ever known. That discovery was coming, and it would change everything. Humanity's introduction to the Galactic Coalition was met with skepticism, to say the least. Their reputation as Deathworlders preceded them, making many species hesitant to even engage. To the Coalition, humans seemed unnecessarily aggressive, too willing to embrace chaos, and fundamentally unpredictable. This was a society that valued stability above all else, and humanity, with their penchant for solving problems through trial and error rather than precision, didn't seem to fit. Despite this initial wariness, humanity slowly integrated into the galactic fold. They offered solutions to minor logistical issues, improved supply chains, and proved themselves quick learners in areas where other species required generations to master. Yet, their methods remained a point of contention. While the coalition preferred carefully calculated decisions based on probabilities, humans trusted intuition and acted decisively. In situations where delay would lead to certain failure, humans thrived, often choosing the least obvious path to victory. It was during this uneasy period of coexistence that the galaxy faced an existential threat. The enemy, known only as the Swarm, came from the dark reaches of space, consuming resources, civilizations, and entire planets with mechanical efficiency. The Swarm was relentless, adapting to defensive measures faster than the coalition could create them. Their weaponry and strategies were designed not for negotiation or deterrence, but for total annihilation. At first, the coalition relied on their advanced technology, confident that their superior intelligence and resources would prevail. But the Swarm didn't play by the rules. Their sheer numbers overwhelmed defensive fleets, and their adaptability rendered even the most sophisticated strategies obsolete. For the coalition, the war quickly turned into a desperate effort to delay their inevitable collapse. In their darkest hour, the coalition reached out to humanity, not because they trusted them, but because they had no other choice. The humans, for their part, didn't hesitate to join the fight. It wasn't entirely altruistic. They understood that the Swarm wouldn't stop at coalition territory. But there was also something else driving them, a sense of duty, a belief that adversity was meant to be faced, not fled from. The coalition's initial interactions with humanity as allies were tense. Human commanders suggested strategies that bordered on reckless, using asteroid fields as ambush zones, deploying outdated weapons in unexpected ways, and even luring the Swarm into inhospitable environments where their numbers would become a disadvantage. The coalition leadership balked at these ideas, calling them inefficient, dangerous, and unsophisticated. Humanity countered by pointing out that no conventional strategy had worked so far. There were moments of friction as cultural differences came to light. Coalition species operated with rigid hierarchies and long deliberation periods, while human teams relied on rapid communication and decentralized decision-making. What the coalition saw as impulsiveness, humanity saw as adaptability. The coalition believed in preserving resources at all costs, while humans were willing to take calculated risks, knowing they could rebuild from almost nothing. Despite their doubts, the coalition eventually allowed humanity to lead a small, inconsequential mission, a test to see if their methods had any merit. What followed shocked them all. The humans' unconventional tactics turned a hopeless skirmish into a decisive victory. They used guerrilla warfare in space, leveraging terrain and timing in ways the Swarm couldn't predict. It wasn't just their tactics, it was their mindset. Where the coalition saw the need for perfect solutions, humans thrived on imperfect options executed with precision. As reports of the victory spread, skepticism gave way to reluctant respect. The coalition leaders, though hesitant, began to grant humanity greater authority. They couldn't deny the results. For the first time, the galaxy saw a glimmer of hope. But the question remained, could this chaotic, unpredictable species truly turn the tide of a war the galaxy seemed destined to lose? Humanity's first victory against the Swarm wasn't just surprising. It was transformative. It revealed a new way of thinking, one that defied the galaxy's obsession with perfection. The coalition quickly realized that humanity's strength didn't lie in their technology, which was still far from the galactic standard. It wasn't even their physical endurance, impressive though it was. It was their ability to find creative solutions in situations where no optimal options existed. Take their use of terrain, for instance. In one engagement, a human fleet lured the Swarm into the gravity well of a collapsing star. While coalition commanders dismissed the plan as suicidal, the humans exploited the star's instability to turn it into a massive weapon. By timing their maneuvers perfectly, they not only escaped the gravitational pull, but also triggered an explosion that wiped out a significant portion of the enemy fleet. To the coalition, this was reckless. To humanity, it was just another example of using the environment as an ally. But their ingenuity didn't stop at large-scale tactics. Humans were masters of improvisation at every level. When supply shortages threatened to cripple their efforts, they scavenged, repurposed, and innovated. Civilian equipment was turned into makeshift weapons, outdated ships were modified with cutting-edge strategies, and even the coalition's discarded technology found new life in human hands. Where others saw useless scrap, humanity saw potential. Their adaptability extended to the battlefield as well. Humans didn't rely on rigid protocols or pre-planned maneuvers. Instead, they trained their soldiers to think independently, to react in real time, and to adjust as the situation evolved. Coalition species, used to strict hierarchical structures, struggled to comprehend this level of autonomy. Yet it worked. Human units could turn ambushes into counterattacks, survive situations that should have meant certain death, and even predict the swarm's behavior with uncanny accuracy. Psychology also became a weapon. While the coalition viewed the swarm as a mindless, unstoppable force, humanity saw them as a challenge to be understood. Through careful observation, humans identified patterns in the swarm's attacks and began exploiting their weaknesses. One breakthrough came when they discovered the swarm's aversion to certain frequencies of light. Within days, human engineers had developed weapons and traps designed to overload the swarm's sensory systems, giving coalition forces an edge they had never imagined possible. Even more surprising was humanity's willingness to take risks others wouldn't dare. In one daring mission, a human crew piloted a barely functioning ship straight into the heart of a swarm fleet. Their goal wasn't to destroy the enemy, but to gather crucial intelligence on the swarm's command structures. The mission succeeded, but only after a series of near disasters that would have paralyzed a coalition crew. For humans, though, close calls were part of the job. They returned not just with the data, but with the confidence that they could outthink their enemy. This relentless spirit began to inspire their allies. Coalition species, once rigid and cautious, started adopting human strategies. They began to see the value in flexibility and the strength in taking calculated risks. Slowly but surely, the coalition forces transformed, blending their advanced technology with humanity's unorthodox methods. Together, they started to push back against the swarm. Humanity's influence wasn't just tactical, it was cultural. They brought a sense of hope and determination that the coalition had long forgotten. Their leaders reminded everyone that wars weren't just about survival. They were about protecting what mattered most. To humanity, the fight against the swarm wasn't just a war, it was a statement. A declaration that no matter how dire the odds, they would find a way to endure. The final battle wasn't just a fight. It was a culmination of everything humanity and the coalition had learned together. The swarm, relentless as ever, was driving toward the coalition's core worlds. Their numbers were overwhelming, their adaptability unmatched, and their strategy simple: annihilation. To stop them, humanity proposed a plan that seemed impossible, a coordinated counterstrike on a scale the galaxy had never attempted. It wasn't a perfect plan. There were too many variables, too many ways it could fail. But perfection wasn't what humanity excelled at. The coalition fleets would act as a diversion, drawing the swarm into a carefully orchestrated trap. Meanwhile, a human-led strike force would infiltrate the swarm's command hive, targeting its central coordination systems. The coalition debated endlessly, questioning every detail, but humanity's resolve never wavered. They knew that waiting for certainty meant losing everything. As the battle began, the scale of the conflict was staggering. Thousands of ships clashed in the cold void, the swarm's relentless tide meeting the coalition's newfound resilience. The swarm adapted quickly, countering tactics that had worked in earlier skirmishes. But this time, the coalition didn't crumble. They had learned from humanity not to rely on a single strategy. When one approach failed, they pivoted to another, staying unpredictable and forcing the swarm to react. At the heart of the chaos, the human strike force executed their mission. Piloting outdated, heavily modified ships, they infiltrated the swarm's territory, navigating through fields of debris and hostile patrols. The odds were astronomical, but humanity had prepared for that. They used decoys, stealth systems, and even electromagnetic pulses to evade detection. Their ships were battle-scarred and unreliable, but they were crewed by people who knew how to make miracles out of disasters. When they reached the command hive, they found it more fortified than anticipated. The coalition would have called for a retreat, but humanity pressed on. Using improvised tactics, they bypassed defenses and launched an all-out assault on the swarm's central systems. The strike wasn't clean or elegant. It was brutal and desperate, with human crews sacrificing everything to complete their mission. Explosions lit up the hive as the team uploaded a virus designed to disrupt the swarm's coordination. The virus didn't destroy the swarm. It wasn't meant to. It introduced chaos into their perfect machine. Without centralized control, their forces hesitated, reacting slower and less effectively. For the first time, the swarm was fighting like individuals rather than a single unified organism. It was all the coalition needed. Seizing the moment, they launched a counteroffensive, driving the swarm back and reclaiming lost territory. The battle ended in victory, but it came at a cost. Many human ships didn't return, and those that did were battered and broken. The coalition mourned their losses, but humanity, while grieving, also celebrated. To them, sacrifice was part of the fight. It wasn't about avoiding loss, but ensuring that those losses meant something. In the aftermath, the galaxy was forever changed. The coalition had learned not just how to fight, but how to survive in the face of overwhelming odds. Humanity's influence was undeniable. Their allies now understood that resilience wasn't just about strength, it was about adaptability, determination, and the willingness to try the impossible. Humanity, once feared and misunderstood, had become the galaxy's unlikely heroes. Their name, once whispered in unease, was now spoken with respect and admiration. They had proven that being a Deathworlder wasn't about destruction. It was about surviving against all odds and inspiring others to do the same. As the galaxy rebuilt, one question lingered: what other challenges might come? Humanity didn't have the answer, but they knew one thing for certain. Whatever the future held, they would be ready. And this time, the galaxy would stand with them.